Have you ever heard the old Indian joke? No?
No.
There's this old Indian man. He's with his son, or his grandson. They're sitting on top of a hill overlooking the country. And he goes, "Son, one day, none of this will be yours." That's an old street joke. So my name's Brian Major. I'm an Indigenous comedian based out of Prince George, British Columbia. This is Prince George. This is where I got my start in comedy all those years ago. I hate it.
Well, for the longest time, I was the only visible BIPOC comedian in Prince George.
Mike and Mark Wheeler, and eventually Harling and Jonathan, John White, Devin Flynn joined the community, Alex McKenzie and Mike Stang. Everyone else, again, not as white as me, but very white. Like Dale Erstein, Dengham, Darren Gass, Cody Malboof, Brad Webb, Justin Medju. Guess what? All white guys. And it was mostly just straight white guys for the longest time.
Brian was like, "I'm billing the show as an all BIPOC comedians." I was like, "In Prince George?" He said, "I'm gonna see if people are gonna come out."
My name is Kylie Lewis Hole.
My name's Manita Ranu.
My name's Sarah.
I'm Shannon Street.
And I am from Toronto originally. I lived in New Brunswick, and for the last 8 years I've been in Prince George.
What brought you here?
Well, my husband's work, he worked for a drilling company that was based out here. I didn't really want to come because I enjoyed New Brunswick. It was closer to Toronto, you know, family and everything. But now I'm here.
I am born and raised in Prince George, BC. I am South Asian Punjabi, and I have done comedy pre-pandemic for a year and a half off and on.
Okay. And you got your start here in Prince George?
Yep.
I'm from Prince George, BC, born and raised. I've lived here my whole life. I've made my family here. I have 2 kids and a spouse. So yeah, just making my roots here in Prince George and plan on staying put for a while. Yes, my mother is Indigenous. From northern Alberta, Fort Chipewyan. So she's a member of the Athabasca Chipewyan Cree First Nation.
I am a stand-up comedian from Prince George, BC, on the traditional territory of the Lheidli T'enneh, and I am Métis on my mother's side, and I am mixed European on my dad's side. And my Métis ancestry is really the only identity I had growing up. So I very strongly identify with that part of me, but also recognize that I have a lot of privilege as a person who walks through the world being white.
So yeah, I'm new to comedy. I'm from Prince George. I started a couple months ago, and my very first time on stage, I won a comedy competition. So that tells you how good comedy is in Prince George.
Now that you've been here for 8 years, how would you characterize Prince George?
Prince George is a funny place. It's weird. It's like growing up in Toronto, living in New Brunswick. It's different. When I came here, it was a real culture shock to me, because not in a sense of, like, you deal with racism everywhere, right? But here in Prince George, and not to bring it towards race, it's such a, I think a lot of people when I came here were shocked by me, because they're not used to meeting a Black Canadian that is like confident, motivated, or whatever. So it was a shock for them, because they were expecting someone like that just came off of some boat and had this like bow down, right? So right away when I came to Prince George, I was like, boom, into everything. I was coaching, I was volunteering. I came here, so my husband, he's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna be away." Boom, 2 days of the kids and I flying here and moving, he goes to Africa for 3 months. And in that time, by the time he came back, I was coaching, I was on a community board, I was all that. But then you meet those groups of people, like I never experienced what I experienced in Prince George. Like they were so in their minds, they're so used to the story being about them that they never met somebody that wasn't necessarily asking them permission. If you know what that means. Like if we're in a car, I'm like the loudest, I'm the most fun. Like they're used to people being like aware and having to bow down to them. So they'll do like little looks at each other, and that doesn't faze me because your looks don't pay my bills. So I'm on, like I'm on that vibe. And it took a while. It took a while because I'm like, it's okay if you do that. But in Prince George, what I learned is people will do that. Like they can make that look, right? And what they'll do behind the scenes is they'll try to stop stuff from happening for you. And in that way, I find Prince George a dangerous place in that sense.
I'm in a good mood because I'm getting better at spotting the store detective at the grocery store. It's not that hard, really, because it's usually the guy right behind me.
So when you joined, Neelam Pahal was already in the community. She's a South Asian. How did you feel seeing someone that looked like you on stage doing what you wanted to do and starting?
Well, there wasn't a huge comedy scene in Prince George. There still really isn't. I didn't actually see Neelam until like, I don't know, 4 months in of doing this when you invited me to go do that show. I can't remember what it was. It was in the Coast Inn.
And that was the first time you met Neelam?
That's when I met Neelam, yeah. And we just started talking, and yeah, we really hit it off.
Why was that, do you think?
She's funny.
Okay.
She's really bubbly and really open, and so am I. And then we actually started like hanging out outside of comedy after that. It was a lot of fun.
It was really fun and really cool to just like have a friend. Like we instantly became friends, and I was surprised because I wouldn't expect like another South Asian in like a small town to be going up on stage and telling jokes in front of her community members. Like I didn't do it because I would be worried that I'd be like kind of trashed on by my community, but I saw somebody who looks like me who's also doing it, and I'm like, it made me feel way more comfortable.
What was it like for you having someone like Shannon Street, who is also a female, who is also Métis, who is also Prince George, born and raised, I think?
Yeah.
And to have someone like me, who is also Indigenous.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you to have that?
It was like, yeah, honestly, it's comforting because there's nothing worse than stepping into something brand new and you kind of feel like there's nobody you can relate to. Whereas at least with you guys, like having you initially was like, okay, you're somebody that I had seen on stage before. So there was like that level of like, okay, I know who this guy is. And then... Because
I overshare?
No, and just that some level of comfort of like, okay, I kind of know these people. And then Shannon and I kind of came into it at the same time, essentially. But having her with me is like fantastic because it's almost like we're both going through the same thing. So it's nice to have somebody that you can just like message or like be like, hey, how are you feeling about this? Or how are you feeling about writing? And so her and I have we've kind of like banded together and really helping each other like make jokes and just like supporting each other. So having her like a female and also Indigenous, also like a very similar background to me, is comforting to know that like there's other people coming from the same place as me. If I didn't have people that I could kind of like latch onto through this process, it would definitely make it a lot more scary, I think, and a lot more intimidating and maybe not as welcoming.
You guys ever watch the show Chopped? Anyone seen it on the Food Network? It's basically where they give them a basket of ingredients and they have to come up with a 5-star meal. I feel like I'd be really good at that. I've trained my whole life to be on Chopped because my covers all the time was like elbow macaroni, leftover meatloaf, and onion. And I feel like if I were on Chopped, all the other contestants would be like, I made you a deconstructed lasagna, risotto, fire roasted, whatever the fuck. And I'd be like, this is hangover soup. And if you don't know, hangover soup is just whatever the fuck you got in the fridge and your mom throws it in a pot, cooks it for 4 hours, and that's all you eat for 10 days.
When you joined the Prince George comedy scene, there was a black female, there was a Indigenous man, and when you joined the contest, there was another Indigenous female.
Mm-hmm.
Who you know. Do you not?
I have met Sarah because I knew her sister Rael.
Okay.
Through burlesque and through just the music scene, but I'd not really hung out with Sarah before.
Okay.
And so it was really amazing to get to like make a new friend too, who is like of the same age, and she's got such a unique perspective, and it was really great to get to like know her and also to know you and Kylie. Like, it's been really inspiring to have, I guess I wasn't inspired by the other comedians in town, and that's not to say they're bad.
The white men.
The white men. That's not to say they're bad. I just don't relate to them.
Right.
And for me, one of the most important things about comedy is having it be relatable.
Representation matters because, one, you're going to get more people coming to comedy shows if they feel like someone on stage actually is going to represent them, or like they can relate to their comedy. Because a lot of laughs are just comedy being relatable, right? And if you can't relate to anything the person's saying, then yeah, maybe comedy is not for you, and maybe that excludes a lot of people from enjoying comedy too, if there's not comics who look like them on stage.
Do you know what the documentary is about?
No idea.
Because we're planning a comedy show featuring an all BIPOC lineup of comedians.
So Art Space seats 149 people. It has the capabilities for doing full-on concerts. We have a sound guy that can hook people up with that, but for comedy shows and that kind of stuff, we've got everything you need. We've got mics. I just got a brand new speaker that is going to be beautiful for shows like that.
Ooh, cool. Fancy.
Have you ever been here before?
Yes, I have. Not for a comedy show, though.
Not for comedy shows?
No.
What was the capacity?
149, I think she said.
So now that you've characterized Prince George that way,
Yeah.
what I sent you was a screenshot of a comment written in a newspaper about the article where I received a grant to produce a documentary about the BIPOC comedians of Prince George.
Yeah.
What did you think of the comment?
I think the comment was very fitting for Prince George, to be honest with you. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. It's basically what I've been saying here, right? Because their story is the only one that matters. Like, everybody else is not, and that's what's basically going on in the world today, right? When now you have to hear what everybody else's experience has been.
From other voices?
From other voices, exactly. Now other voices get to be heard, right? And now with other voices, now they get to hear how we really feel. I don't know. I think it was the perfect comment for here because it doesn't matter to them. It's a waste of money. You know, I found it fitting. I was like, yeah, look at them go. Because we're prepared to deal with them. Because that's our whole lives. They've never been prepared to deal with us. Never. They've never been prepared because to them, we don't have a voice.
What was your response to that comment?
Well, it obviously came from a place of anger, considering he didn't spell like a single word correctly and couldn't make a sentence. But yeah, I think he gave us a good example of why voices matter, why representation matters, because he clearly thinks that it doesn't matter, and it definitely does. I don't think he realizes that taxpayers don't pay for grants. That doesn't come out of tax dollars. Having different voices and different viewpoints will make people be able to understand each other, and maybe there won't be so much hate towards somebody who looks a little different than you.
I think you sent me the screenshot, so I do remember that comment. Yeah, and that, to me, those types of comments, when people leave, like, I want to change that narrative altogether so that people aren't freely just leaving comments like that, because first of all, comments like that are extremely biased. They're coming from stereotypes. You know, I think it was just, like, for me, they just infuriate me, like the lack of knowledge as to what you're actually doing. Did they even freaking read the article, first of all? But it's like that type of narrative towards the Indigenous community is what I'm talking about. It is constantly, every single day. I am on social media platforms too. The comments like that are unreal, and people don't understand that that is racism. It is, in my opinion, like, they don't understand and realize how hurtful and degrading those types of comments are. And like, if it was a picture of like some really popular white dude that you knew that was on that article, he probably wouldn't have left that comment. You know what I mean? It's like, that narrative, I just want to change altogether.
I should have invited him to the show.
You should have. Free tickets.
I love doing comedy so much, and you guys don't understand what, I started comedy in Prince George. And when I started, I was the funniest black person then, you know? And it's just good to see how far I've come. We have Brian Major in the building. Give it up for Brian Major.
Brian Major.
Welcome, Brian, to the Madhouse. So Brian is working on a documentary about BIPOC comedians.
What does BIPOC mean?
What does BIPOC mean?
I think a lot of people know what BIPOC means, and every time. BIPOC's Black Indigenous People of Color. But being the B in the BIPOC, I'm just like, you know what? This is it, right? I get top billing.
Yeah, absolutely. As the token white guy here, I'm feeling triggered.
No, but so that's
why am I being left out?
No, so that's why. Here's the thing.
We've heard enough from you.
Yeah, we have.
You can get tickets online at Eventbrite. Do a search for Just Us Comedy Showcase. You can find it on Facebook. Search Just Us Comedy Showcase. Or you can follow the page Other Voices Doc on Facebook.
All right, so we'll be at the Firm on Friday night.
8 o'clock. Tickets are $20. 4 great comedians.
And let's see if you show up.
Let's go, Prince George.
Let's go, Prince George. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll be right back.
Howard, ticket sales boy. Can you tell?
I'm keeping that a secret from the comedians. Okay. The show is 14 days away. We've sold 11 tickets.
I thought of comedy, like when I got more and more into it, as like an outlet for things I wanted to talk about too, and things I wanted to say, that like we kind of hold our tongue, especially people of color, when we want to say things that we don't, but we kind of, I think there's this like subconscious or maybe underlying pressure to not make people of non-color uncomfortable.
You can say white people.
Yeah. I don't know. They don't want, white people don't like to be uncomfortable, and when they come to a comedy show.
I used to work here.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The very first time I did stand-up comedy was at the university, and in the audience was Betsy Trumpeter. She's a reporter for CBC Radio. She saw me and she handed me her business card, and it led to me I was their first Aboriginal summer intern.
That's super cool. I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, Brian used to work at CBC.
Nice.
So.
It was the Indigenous humor class. Instead of a final exam, we all had to do a performance. But
yeah, you were really funny.
Thank you.
I remember that. And that would have been like 19 years ago, 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
Kira, Tony was still pregnant with Kira.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, and she used to come into the office and breastfeed. I still remember that.
We don't need to include that.
I love that though. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was a beautiful story. So yeah, and then you came to CBC just like that. So have you repeated those jokes? Like they were
The Crime Stopper commercials?
They were quite edgy, right? Like for Prince George 20 years ago, right? Like
the Crime Stopper commercials stuck in my act for a long time.
Okay. That one's passed the test of time, sadly. Still funny in its truth, right? So
I'm not working, like I said. I'm producing a documentary. But you know what job I would like to have? I would like to be the actor that plays the suspect in the Crime Stopper commercials. Because I always seem to fit the description of the suspect. Suspect is always described as an Aboriginal male, average height, medium build, dark skin, black hair. That's me. You can tell it's a joke I wrote a long time ago because I forget how it goes.
Okay. Well, the documentary is called Other Voices. It's about the BIPOC comedians of Prince George, but it's also about the show that's happening tomorrow night. I call it Other Voices because these are voices that you don't normally hear from. They're underrepresented. And so we'll be talking about our lives, our lived experiences as BIPOC people living in Prince George. Yes, at the end of the show, we'll be asking audience members to provide their feedback on camera for the documentary. We'll be asking them, what did you think of the show you just witnessed? And what did you learn from what you heard from the comedians? So it's like an anti-racism workshop, but not quite.
Okay, now that's done, let's go get a haircut.
Just for Laughs is the goal. It'll always be the goal. That's it. To perform in Montreal at the festival, right? Have my mon amis, all my friends from New Brunswick, Toronto, and even Laval that doesn't think it's a part of Montreal. To have that, you know, my family, it's a quick drive. Montreal means a lot to me. To perform there, where I used to watch people, whoo.
What happens when you achieve that?
Then that's it. This need to be like, see your name in bright lights. I ain't got time for that. I'm a great barber. I want to see my kids play, have fun. I want to do something where I'm not gone from them at night and on the weekend. I'm just here cutting hair in my corner, telling everybody, there's my picture when I was at Just for Laughs. That's the way. That's it. You're gonna make me cry. Because I want that picture. God, no.
Hi.
What are your hopes and expectations for tonight?
Well, I hope I remember all my jokes. And my expectations are everybody has a good time and they laugh, and I hope we sell out. I really hope we sell out.
Because this has been billed as an all BIPOC lineup of comedians.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that's going to deter people in Prince George from coming. There's not a lot to do in Prince George. But if anything, I hope it really just like promotes more people to go and do stand-up regardless of like of your gender or your ethnicity or like your whatever way you flow. Stand-up is for everybody. That's, you know what? That's my main goal, is to like promote that stand-up is for every single person. Doesn't matter if you're like 80 years old, go up on stage and tell a joke.
My hope and expectation for tonight is for people, for it being billed as an all BIPOC, for people to realize that the stories are relatable. We all have that husband, we all have that sister, we all have that friend, we've all been at that same place in life. It doesn't matter what color of the rainbow we look like, you are gonna laugh because we're all relatable. We all bleed, right, the same color, and therefore we all live the same lives.
I am driving us out. Yes, what are your expectations for tonight?
I hope everyone does well. The audience has a good time and they walk away learning more about what a black person is like living in Prince George, what a South Asian person living in Prince George, and what it's like for an Indigenous person living in Prince George. Because we're going to be talking about our lives by default, because it's coming from us, right? So that's what I'm hoping they walk away from, if an audience shows up. So.
Are you worried that no one's going to show up?
A little bit.
Cheers, everybody!
It's going to be a good show.
Nervous. How nervous are you?
You're nervous too.
I'm nervous as well.
Yeah, we're both nervous.
I feel like like you said, I'm gonna get up there and end up improvising.
That's okay. As long as you're confident when you improvise, you'll be fine.
Okay, good. Sounds good.
You ready? I'm ready.
I'm ready.
You ready?
You ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? You ready? You ready? You ready? Hey!
Oh my God, it's you.
All right, let's go. Let's do this. Let's go, Dad. We're about to get started. I'm going to bring up our MC for the evening. He's very funny. You're going to love him. Prince George, please welcome Chris Gaskin.
All right. This took an odd turn real fast, didn't it? The all BIPOC comedy showcase. And here I am. I am excited to be taking part in this. I'm excited to be hosting this. I have spent the pandemic cutting my own hair, which I think was a mistake because I thought it looked fine, and then the second I got in town, Brian said I look racist, and I'm not, you know what he called me? American history extra small. That is what.
You might be wondering, all BIPOC show, who invited the white girl? I'm actually an undercover Indian, and I get to say that because I'm Métis. And we are now under the Indian Act because of the Daniels decision of 2016. We gained so many great rights. I can hunt migratory birds. I do it all the time. I actually carry my Métis card, just so that if anybody ever asks, I'm Indigenous. I can prove it. Hey, yeah. Man, ever since I got a breast reduction, my boobs are not great pockets anymore.
So I had to do the whole online dating thing, and it was awful. It's terrible. No, and you know, that's the only way you can meet people nowadays, right? And you know, I learned something from my experience, and I want to share it with you ladies here. If you want to meet a guy, just don't. You don't have to. Just don't do it. Like, no. And don't say, oh, but I'm lonely. No, because a guy does not want a woman who needs a man to complete themselves. No. A man wants a happy, independent woman. Because that's when you're the most attractive, right? When you're happy and doing okay. Because it's like exactly that time when a guy's going to see you and go, she looks really happy. I think I'm going to go ruin her life.
So I kind of forgot to mention at the very beginning, I'm Indigenous, in case anyone didn't get that. I grew up in a white family. My mom was a 60s scoop baby. That's a whole different story, but we'll stick to the funny stuff. I didn't notice that I was different from all my white friends growing up, except for when they wanted to get white girl wasted. We would all be drinking and they'd be like, this is so much fun! I would be like 3 shots of whiskey and be like, you want to fight? I'll you up. That's how I first knew. I was like, there's something different here.
TikTok's good.
What did you think when that blew up?
The white girl wasted joke that I posted on TikTok. Okay, so yeah, I posted the video of me doing a joke when we were at the firm, and I just like had edited it and posted it to TikTok, and it ended up generating like over 65,000 views in a pretty short period of time. And the response from that was awesome. People were like laughing and liking, and a lot of comments, people were like, it was nice to see the Indigenous community in the comments being like, yes, this is so funny, you're hilarious, like, where can I see you? And like, I don't know, touching base with that community that just is like so, yeah, underrepresented, and for them to like see somebody like them on stage making jokes about stuff that's funny to them and that they can relate to, like, it was awesome.
Sarah told me, what's Sarah's last name? Jones. She was on stage last night and she told this joke and it was so funny, and it made me realize, I'm like, oh, we're not that different, because she was telling this joke about getting white girl wasted, and being Indigenous. She realized how she was different from her white friends growing up. She did not get white girl wasted. She wanted to fight, and I had the exact same experience, and I realized that us Indians aren't very different, because we both like whiskey and we both want to fight after a few drinks.
I've been white girl wasted even before I knew what white girl wasted was. I was in middle school and I was trying to escape, right? Because all the cool kids were drinking from their parents' alcohol cabinets. I didn't know what an alcohol cabinet was. We had one cabinet in my house, and that was where the good plates went. And we started drinking. And I'm telling you, those white girls got so loud. The only time I've ever heard screams like that is when one of my cousins was getting beaten for something. So I was astounded that when you got drunk, you cried out like you were getting lashes. Something we took from the others, you know. And it was amazing. I was so drunk, I fucked them white people's house up! In my house, you couldn't jump on the couch. I was flipping. I was like, whoa, whoa, look at me, flip, flip, ha! They had these things called throw pillows. I wasn't having y'all! Talking on hair, jumping jack. What? I was living my bestest life. And I don't know if it was the 65th bouncing somersault from the love seat to the sofa to the leather recliner. But I puked everywhere. I was jumping. You ever puked in midair? Mom, can you come get me? I don't know, they're playing some racist game, you know.
Okay, my name is Michael Rancourt, and I've lived in Prince George almost my whole life. And I heard your interview on a podcast and decided to take my fiancée. So, yeah. And yeah, she's Métis, and she's an Indigenous educational worker. So I felt like this would be a good show for both of us to come check out. I thought it was good. It was lots of laughs and great material, relatable. To just we all live in the same place, so it was interesting hearing a lived experience from a different point of view. I work with a bunch of white guys. I'm a blue collar worker. I work with a bunch of white guys. I don't generally interact with a lot of BIPOC people. So, I mean, it's good hearing and listening and learning. So that's a big part of why I'm here tonight. I learned things that I feel like I already know. Like, the experience for other people is a lot harder than my own experiences. And I think it's good for everybody to always remember that and to hear from other people and hear their own experiences and how they have to deal with things that might be easy for me to deal with that maybe not so easy for other people.
Sure, my name's Audrey Blake and I am Métis and Micmac. I thought it was great. It's a lot of relatable content, like even when you're talking about being at university and you're making jokes about it, but relating to people, why are you getting this education paid for, and you're able to kind of make a joke out of it, but then as part of that community I can understand those comments as well, and so it's nice to bring that forward to the stage, and while you're making jokes about it, you're kind of educating others. So I thought that was really great. It's relatable content and nice for people to be able to hear those things.
What did you learn, if anything, about the lived experiences of the BIPOC comedians?
No matter the struggles, the trauma, whatever hardship we may go through, we're able to just channel that and just bring light to kind of the darkness, always bring like a funny side to it. So I loved how we were able to do that.
Were you able to relate to the comedians?
Yeah.
More than, say, like a white comedian?
Yes, definitely.
Do you have any closing thoughts you want to add?
We need more. I feel like definitely BIPOC representation needs to be increased.
Do it again. We'd like to come back and see you guys do the show again.
I hope you guys come back again and we get to see these performers again, and no, it was really great.
I think comedy is blowing up, whether we see it on social media, whether we see it on Netflix, and we need to open up the stage so that more BIPOC people can be on the stage and, share our lived experiences, share our stories, and share our laughs, because I feel like we're the funniest people.
Do you think society as a whole is more open to hearing from other voices?
Yes, of course. Society as a whole wants to hear from everybody, because our society, the makeup of our society is everybody. Society is ready, and they want that. When it comes to comedy, the greatest part about comedy is this: you will find your audience. You will find your audience. I go on stage, and I did a show a couple Sundays ago, and I remember, because there's a group of people, they're at all my shows, right? There's this one family. Their mom does not like my comedy. And she was outside, and we were talking about it, and they said that to me. They're like, because she was there, she's like, well, it's not for me. And I was like, that's great. But 4 other people in the family loved me, and mom didn't. And she paid for a ticket. You know what I mean? Like, come, buy the ticket. You know what I mean? That's how I feel about that. I think that you find your audience and you find your crowd, and I think society's ready. You just gotta find your tribe.
Amazing, talented. That's Prince George now. Shannon, Sarah, I'm like, those are funny. Good thing I'm the only black one, still holding my spot down.
Cheers!